Welcome to another video from Lockdown Electronics with me, Bill, and this time we've got a follow-up to my first video I did on the Philips Electronic Engineer, where I had a look at what it was and the kind of things it did, and I've decided this time I want to have a go at a bit more of an involved project and see if we can actually get anything out of this bit of ancient history. So let's first of all have a look at what it is I'm going to do, and then we'll go to the bench and see if we can get it working. So we're going to try and pluck some radio waves out of thin air if we possibly can, using from the Electronic Engineer book. We're going to use circuit C1. It doesn't scan terribly well, I'm afraid. Doesn't work too well with black ink and leaving the paper as the white print, but hopefully you get the gist. So we've got 3 transistor design and eventually driving the loudspeaker. Nothing very earth shattering about that, except to say that transistor T1 there, which on there is the BF194, that's actually being used in reflex mode, where it actually amplifies at RF. And then the signal is then routed back through the transistor, having been detected by the diode, so it acts as a audio frequency amplifier as well. So it's that's something that used to get done quite a lot. And the choke at the top there, L, is the filter device that prevents RF from creeping into the rest of the circuit. And then transistors 2 and 3 are just essentially audio amplification stages. So there we go. The card that I'm going to build the circuit on looks like that, and you can see the holes there, the punched holes, are where the springs are going to fit through. So it's not quite so easy to see this card once it's on the board and all set up, so I thought I'd just show you a picture of that first. So we'll see how we get on. And I think the next thing I need to do is deal with the fact that I only actually have 2 transistors in this kit. One is missing. Now you may recall I had got a 2N2222 as a replacement earlier, and that did seem to work. But I had a search through my junk box and had a look what other NPN transistors I'd got. So the results for the 2 from the kit, for the 194 you can see there, and for the 148 below, and I could find 3 NPN transistors that were I could make use of. So we've got the fairly well known 2N3904. I've also got a C1815. These were recovered from a circuit board that was part of I think it was part of a video recorder once, and there that C1815 is similar to a 2N2222, and I even managed to find a BC184. I don't know where that's come from. The legs were a little bent, but it tested out okay with a reasonably good gain figure as well. So I decided I'd try those. So we'll now go back to the circuit. The reason it's now yellow rather than black is this taken from the non-Metoy version of the book, which actually has got clearer diagrams in, but the circuit is identical apart from that. So supposed to be a BF194 followed by 2 BC148s. So I tinkered around with the 3 transistors I'd got, and I ended up with 2N3904 in the first position, the 184 second, and the 1815 third. And although it's a little bit subjective, for no other reason that it sounded alright to me, I got the best results when I substituted those 3. The results were certainly better than with the original transistors, which I suspect are very old and tired now. Now the only thing that's different apart from the transistors is the speaker up there, which is 150 ohms in the original kit. I don't have a 150 ohm speaker, so I've got a pair of headphones which I've got they're stereo headphones, and I've got them wired in series, and that's giving me about 120 ohms, something like that, and doesn't seem to give a excessive current on transistor 3. So I've just worked with that. Right, let's go and have a look at this thing built on the bench. Difficult to actually demonstrate the radio working because I don't have the right impedance speaker, so I've got a pair of headphones which I've wired in series that gives me something like the right sort of impedance. You can possibly hear the tone coming off the signal generator there if I do that. Hopefully you can, not sure. Just take my word for it. However, you cannot actually see, I've just got the scope attached to the collector of the output transistor, and you can hopefully see got a waveform there. Now I've currently got AM at about 1 megahertz, and I've got it modulated at 500 hertz. If I up the frequency, in fact I'll just put the headphones somewhere near the mic so you can hopefully hear the change. So that's 1000 hertz, and you can see the display on the scope changing. So if I leave that at 1 kilohertz and change over to carrier frequency, if I go oops, apologies, scope gone off there just to annoy me. I've got all this very precariously balanced, so if I bring the frequency back up towards 1 megahertz, you can see the that's at 1.4 megahertz. If I come back down to 1 megahertz there where it's tuned to, you can see the receiver is indeed peaked on about 1 megahertz. So I can't really hear anything at the moment on an aerial. What I'm going to do, because this is medium wave, I'm going to actually have a go at listening after dark when signals should be stronger. So if I am able to get something there, I'll record a bit more, but at least it shows you the circuit's working. Having shown you the radio working on with the signal generator, this is sort of a bit backwards really, but let's just have a look what's going on. So I built the circuit as per the layout diagram. The only thing that's different is I've replaced some of the transistors with some modern equivalents, and I've tried swapping around a bit, and quite frankly the results are, without wishing to beat about the bush, a bit disappointing. So the old transistors, you know, they're obviously 55 years old actually, at least, so they're well past the best, and I think a combination of some very old contacts, maybe not the best kind of contacts, has resulted in what I might call a lackluster performance. So I mentioned previously, when we got the scope and the signal generator attached up, I was going to try it in the evening. So what I've actually got here for the for this little external antenna coil, I've got the ground end attached to a ground, and I've got the other end attached to my high frequency doublet antenna, which is actually a 5 megahertz doublet, a bit like a dipole if you're not familiar, and I've got it attached to both sides of that, so it's a fairly sizable external antenna. And after dark, about an hour after dark, I was actually able, with the headphones on, to very carefully tune around, and I did eventually come across what in the UK is called Radio 5, which is a fairly strong medium wave station, and I could hear enough of it to know that it was Radio 5. I probably couldn't hear enough of it to have had a pleasant listening experience. So I think if that was the best this was capable of, I think as a lad I'd have been a bit disappointed, but I suspect you've got, you know, a combination of old components and poor connections and not helping. So I'm not going to tinker too much more. The resistors on here that were wrong I've replaced with modern components, so the component values are correct. and the components on here do test out okay, but you can see some of the connectors are a little tarnished. The other thing I did was I sprayed these with some switch cleaning compound and give them a bit of agitation to try and clean them up a bit. That didn't make very much difference. I think it did make a little bit of difference. It made the connections a bit more reliable, but it didn't improve them dramatically. So no, not fantastic performance, but I think I can reasonably say that yeah, the radio does actually work. But had I been a lad at the time, I'd have probably been mighty disappointed with the efforts. I suspect it would have worked better actually with when the components were still fresh and new. And the only thing that is different is that's just the earth connection there. That capacitor there should be 10 picofarads. They don't have a 10 picofarad capacitor, that's 15, but it certainly enabled me to tune a medium wave station after dark when signals were a bit stronger. So there you go. It does work. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another video, and I'm going to look at what these kind of things might have if you got them now, and I think that might be an interesting thing to do. So I'll probably maybe use some of these components, but I'll use them with some more modern counterparts and see what we can do. Anyway, there we go. That's circuit C1, which is the tuned frequency radio. Well, a bit more nostalgia for you there. If that you had one of these things, it's probably brought back a few memories. If you never saw it, or you're a bit younger than me, you'd probably think, what on earth was this rubbish? Well, I'll tell you what, it was cutting edge 55 years ago, and probably looks a bit crude now. But it's been interesting, and I suspect the components are tired, and along with the connections not being as good as perhaps they could be these days, even with a spray of switch cleaner, didn't seem to make too much difference. But we got something out of it. I think if that had been the result 50 odd years ago, I'd have probably been a bit disappointed. Nonetheless, I've enjoyed the nostalgic journey. Hope you have too. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.